Next news, breaking news.
One word. That's all Robert Garcia needed. Kasie Hunt asked him on CNN if President Trump's children should expect subpoenas from a Democrat House. And Garcia fired back, absolutely. There it is. No mask, no euphemism, no fake moderation. While Pramila Jayapal says socialism is actually quite popular, New York Democrats hand wins to candidates who praise communism and Stalin, Robert Garcia blurts out the enforcement arm of the whole operation. Punish Trump, punish his family, punish anybody standing in the way. See, President Trump called communism a cancer that spreads. And Garcia just showed the metastasis on live television. And wait till you see where this goes. See, the story hits your home, it hits your paycheck, your parents, and your kids, because the Democrat Party just stopped flirting with extremism and started rewarding it. Pramila Jayapal bragged that socialism is actually quite popular, then ducked the simplest question in the world. Name one socialist country that ended well. She couldn't do it. The DSA co-chair, Ashik Sadiq, got cornered with his own movement's words. Our goal is communism. And he still refused to slam the door. CNN's KFILE blew open Darializa Avila's deleted posts praising communism, Stalin, terrorists, and Antifa-style ideology, and Democrat voters still push radicals forward. Graham Plattner just won a primary with a grotesque trail of scandal and communist sympathies hanging around his neck and plastered on his chest. Then you get Zohran Mamdani telling New Yorkers to crank thermostats to 78 degrees and stop using appliances because the grid can't handle reality. See, that's the model. They break systems, seize control, then lecture you into living poor, while Robert Garcia promises subpoenas for Trump's children if they grab the gavel. See, when Robert Garcia says absolutely about subpoenaing Trump's children, remember this. The same ruling class that built a Medicare confusion industrial complex to keep seniors overwhelmed and obedient. Chapter cuts through it. They're simple by design. One call, one advisor, and they work for you, not big insurance. That's how you beat systems built to trap people. Bureaucrats want confusion because confusion keeps people stuck in bad Medicare plans. Chapter looks at your doctors, they look at your prescriptions, they look at your whole situation and tell you the truth. No propaganda, just facts. If you're already on the right plan, they will say so. If not, they can help you switch. It's free. It takes under 20 minutes. And last year, people who found new plans with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. So call that number on your screen, 910-928-4109. Clarity beats bureaucrats every single time. Now here's the part the regime media still wants to blur out. Robert Garcia's absolutely was not a random outburst. It fit perfectly with the rest of the Democrat pipeline. On one end, Jayapal sold socialism. In the middle, Democrat Socialists of America figures admitted communism sits inside the tent. On the other end, Mamdani barked out thermostat orders and appliance rationing in New York. And in between, CNN itself caught Darializa Avila praising Stalin and Antifa-style ideology. I'm going to show you the receipts because the pattern is just too obvious to ignore. And we're connecting the dots. Garcia exposed exactly what Democrats will do if they take back power. Listen.
Trump term, of course, when the president was impeached twice and not convicted, do you think that what Democrats did during his first term with the first impeachment has made it harder to break through and hold him accountable now because people have tuned it out?
Look, there is no question, I think, that people are overwhelmed with the amount of government corruption that exists in the White House and in D.C. Look, I think the Congress took the right approach. What he's doing in the second term is so much larger in scale, and the way it's moving so fast, and the amount of corruption that's happening the first administration pales in comparison to what's happening now. And the reality is that Donald Trump is committing an impeachable offense every single week. So the idea that we're not going to investigate this with everything we've got, I mean, it's crazy. We have to investigate every single part of this. And of all of the kind of schemes that Trump and his family have in place, this crypto scheme is the most serious because there's so little transparency and information that the American public have. We just don't fully understand who is giving Donald Trump all of this money and for what, and if they're getting anything in return.
Do you want to see him impeached for this? Do you want to see Democrats try to impeach President Trump if they take the House because of this?
What I want to see is serious investigations into Donald Trump's corruption. Look, everything, of course, is always on the table. But we've got to put our energy into stopping the Trump agenda and rooting out corruption and taking on the administration and the Trump family in all of these deals that are happening across the world. And so that is going to be our focus. Where that leads us, we'll see.
Should President Trump's children expect to be subpoenaed by a Democratic House?
Absolutely. Look, anyone that is involved in these schemes and his corruption will have to come in front of our committee. I mean, look at Jared Kushner, for example. I mean, Jared Kushner has a $2 billion investment from the Saudis right when he leaves the first White House. Now he's going around as the Middle East envoy, apparently of President Trump, while still cutting deals around the world with some of these same regions and governments. I mean, that is complete corruption that needs to be investigated. We know that there are reports of Don Jr. essentially being on and involved on the boards of certain companies that are getting massive contracts from the Pentagon and from other government agencies. I mean, that has to be investigated. This is
Oh, yeah. Did you investigate Hunter Biden? No. So he says the quiet part out loud. Democrats want Trump's family in the crosshairs. Doesn't stop with subpoenas next. A Maine Democrat says socialized health care is America's future. Yeah. Maine Democrat Graham Plattner, who praises communist China, says if Democrats gain power, socialized health care will be the future of America.
We are much closer to universal health care than people think we are. We don't have universal health care. We don't have a single-payer system. The reason we have it isn't, or we don't have it, isn't because we haven't written good policy or we don't know what to do. It's simply because there has not been the political will or power to make it a reality. And I believe after this November, we're going to see a massive increase in people in the House and the Senate who see a universal single-payer system as the future in healthcare in this country. We're going to see a lot more of them. And that's going to allow us to build a lot more power. Because at the end of the day, it really is just about power.
Yeah, about power, huh? So after that open push for government control, look at who Democrats are elevating. Yes, Graham Plattner, he did win his primary. And the record tied to him is ugly. He has a Nazi tattoo, lied repeatedly about the tattoo, said he would do things to people and women while married, bragged about drawing things in porta potties, praised, says he's a communist, joined an app known to be used by, just read the screen there. Yeah. So the primary win tells you where the Democrat base is heading next. President Trump lays out why he says communism is a threat. America better stop fast.
As we're seeing now, communism is the greatest threat to our country, including, I believe this, when I said it, I said, boy, that's pretty severe, but I think it's true. It's the biggest threat to our country, including World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, September 11th. I think it's a bigger threat, potentially a bigger threat than that, because it's like a cancer that spreads, and you better stop it fast. We will never let the United States become a communist country. Won't happen.
So Trump warning, it wasn't abstract, he called it a cancer. Next, Pramila Jayapal about to prove the point by saying socialism actually is popular and then dodges the obvious question. Allison Steinberg, Lindell TV, with the question.
The reason that Donald Trump has to pivot from saying socialist to saying communist now is because socialism is actually quite popular. These ideas, whether you call it socialism or not, they are very popular across the country. So he's got to attach a new label to it. But I'm not concerned. We're all going to be here fighting for the things that that we are for and that we want to deliver for working people.
So is socialism the end goal for progressives at this point?
The end goal is delivering for working people. Universal health care, universal child care, housing investments, a housing bill, by the way, the most consequential in a generation that the president says is a yawn and is unimportant. It is so disrespectful of the things that are happening. And I think, frankly, that's why there's so much support for many of these candidates across the country.
You just said socialism. Congressman, you just said socialism is very popular. Can you name one socialist country that ended well?
There's plenty of examples of how these policies make a real difference. And I'm excited to make sure that Americans have the access to them. Thank you. Yeah.
Allison's face right at the end there.
To them. Thank you. Yeah. Reason that
Her
Donald
eyes right there was great. So she couldn't name a socialist country. Next, RNC Research runs the history straight at today's left with a brutal roll call of self-described socialists and communist sympathizers. RNC Research. Democrats can gaslight Americans all they want, but history is a great teacher. How to spot a communist in 2026.
In recognizing a communist, physical appearance counts for nothing. If he openly declares himself to be a communist, we take his word for it.
I am a democratic socialist.
You call yourself a democratic socialist?
I'm a democratic socialist. Mamdani is a self-described socialist.
I am a democratic socialist.
Claire Valdez, this is a candidate, again, aligned with the Democratic Socialists of America.
I'm a proud democratic socialist.
I identify as a democratic socialist, but I'm running as a Democrat.
We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism. We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.
If a person consistently reads and advocates the views expressed in a communist publication, he may be a communist.
Social media posts from Darializa Avila Chevalier's old X account, including favorable references to communism, Marxist ideology, and authoritarian communist figures.
As Eugene Debs once said,
if a person supports organizations which reflect communist teachings, she may be a communist.
I've been a member of New York City DSA for 7 years.
Feed the rich and feed the poor. This is class war.
If a person defends the activities of communist nations while consistently attacking the domestic and foreign policy of the United States, she may be a communist.
Cuba has a remarkable public health system.
We remember Fidel Castro, whose legacy is complex.
Sort of the opposite of what the United States has.
You know, when Fidel Castro came into office, you know what he did? He had a massive literacy program. Is that a bad thing?
There's a lot of dissidents imprisoned in Cuba.
That's right.
The actions and U.S. contributions to the suffering of Cubans.
This particular bullying and the use of sanctions.
Like other U.S. policies, the cruelty is the point.
It does not help the people of countries like Venezuela.
Do you believe that the 9/11 terrorist attacks on America were the inevitable consequence of American foreign policy?
Inevitable in the sense that we destabilized a lot of the Middle East, that forced people to believe that another act of violence was the only response.
Social media post from Darializa Avila Chevalier. One calls the United States an effing disgrace.
If a person does all these things over a period of time, he must be a communist.
I mean, our goal is liberation. Our goal is communism.
So that shows the fringe. It's not fringe anymore. They're saying it themselves. Next, another flashback from Joseph McCarthy drives home the point: one communist in the government is one too many.
Treason doesn't just grow. It's created by men with faces and men with names.
one communist on the faculty of one university is one communist too many. Even if there are only one communist in the State Department, that would still be one communist too many.
So McCarthy's warning was blunt. A lot of Americans think it fits the moment again. Elon Musk says it's time to invoke the Communist Control Act and treat this threat seriously. Elon Musk calls for the invocation of the Communist Control Act, declaring communism has the highest death count of any philosophy, and he's right. It's time for a war on communism. They're on the rise and are remaking the Democrat Party to destroy America and Western civilization. Communists can never win. So Musk says communism has the highest death toll. Next, even CNN's own reporting exposes Democrat candidates' old posts praising Stalin, Marxism, and violent anarchism. Here's Andy Ngo with CNN's KFILE report.
CNN uncovered posts from a deleted Twitter account that belonged to Avila Chevalier showing positive references to communism, Marxist ideology, and communist figures between 2020 and 2022.
She did not respond to CNN's request for comment, but following our story, she did an interview with MS Now where she said she was not a communist, she was a democratic socialist.
This all comes after previous reporting on deleted posts advocating abolishing police, prisons, borders, seizing private property, and nationalizing major industries. The Democratic Socialists last week defeated longtime Congressman Adriano Espaillat in New York Democratic primary. Let's open up the Wayback Machine and take a look. So our reporting showed that her bio used to have the phrase, "How communist of you" in it in 2020. So archived posts and reposts included a recommendation that Karl Marx's Capital was, quote, an essential must-read, and another that complained that public libraries did not have enough, quote, radical literature by Marxist authors like Lenin and others. A retweet lamenting that banned bookstore displays did not include the complete works of J.V. Stalin, the longtime Soviet dictator responsible for millions of deaths. One archived retweet in 2020 quoted Assad Shakur, the Black Liberation Army member who was later convicted in the murder of a New Jersey state trooper and fled to Cuba, saying that she preferred Ho Chi Minh, Kim Il-sung, Che, or Fidel, but ended up getting into Marx and Lenin just to understand a lot of the speeches and stuff. She said they were, quote, two white dudes who made contributions to the revolutionary struggle who were too great to be ignored. In April 2020, she shared a post saying that people wouldn't accept communism over a lack of varieties of soup. Another post from that month read, "Most of the theory I've read is communism, but the pyromania associated with anarchism is very intriguing to me. Must read further." She didn't respond to CNN's request for comment for this story, but after CNN's initial reporting last month on her deleted post, she said the post no longer reflected who she is today and that she had grown considerably since writing them.
Wow. My hat's off to CNN for digging into that. Because when CNN is uncovering pro-communist posts, Democrats can't hide behind the usual shield. Next, Joseph Hernandez explains why he sees the DSA as an organized anti-American threat, not some campus sideshow. The Democrat primary made one thing clear to us: the DSA is no longer a fringe movement. It's organized, well-funded, and becoming a real threat to the future of New York. He says, "I understand firsthand the consequences of socialism. I escaped communist Cuba as a child in search of the American dream and found it. That's why I'm running for New York State Comptroller. I want to ensure every New Yorker has a pathway to their own American dream." Here he is on News Nation.
Let's take a look at this map together, because you got to look at it and wonder how Republicans are responding to these moves in the Democratic Party ahead of the midterms. How do you see it when you look at that map?
Well, look, I think this is a very dangerous trajectory that's occurring in America. I view the DSA as really the enemy of the state, in my humble opinion. I think what they are doing is anti-American. If you look at their philosophies, the things they want to do, they want to get rid of the Senate. They want to make the president and the Supreme Court subordinate to Congress. They want to get rid of prisons. They want to get rid of the military. They want to get rid of borders. You know, the list goes on and on about the changes that they want for the U.S. government. This great 250-year experiment that's done so great, they're intended on changing the way we run our government.
So he lays out the warning from someone who escaped communist Cuba. Next, DSA co-chair gets pressed on Fox after one of their own admits our goal is communism.
I'm not sure that all your members see that distinction, though, between democratic socialism and communism. Look, let me show you an example. This is National DSA Political Committee member David Jenkins. Watch this.
I mean, our goal is liberation. Our goal is communism. We're a diverse body of libertarian socialists, libertarian Marxists, anarchists, left communists, and other schools of thought within the sort of left wing of socialist movement.
He says our goal is communism.
We have a big tent of all sorts of ordinary people who have many different ideas about what the pathway is or what the horizon is.
We have a big tent And the guy who is holding up the tent says it's about communism. Yeah. So the Big Tent excuse falls apart when the goal is spelled out on camera. Next, voters in Staten Island give Zohran Mamdani a very different reception, booing him out of a restaurant. Gets booed out of a restaurant. There's a communist.
Here's the communist. Sorry, I want something to eat. I would like something to eat. Let me tell you something, man. You are not welcome in this island. October 7th, Jew hater. You Jew hater. Hey, Mr. Mamdani, can I talk to you? This is my island. You're not welcome here. Excuse me. You hate Jews. You hate this country. You hate this island. Big shot for the Tom Holman. Don't go home.
So the backlash shows regular people are done pretending. Mamdani's next move won't help. He's now warning New Yorkers to raise thermostats and ration power during a heat wave. The Ugandan-born Mayor Mamdani doubling down, telling New Yorkers that people could die if they refuse to raise a thermostat. He's also telling people to stop using major appliances unless it's early day or late night. During a historic heat wave, AC will save lives, but only if we keep the grid stable enough for it to stay on. How about you fix the grid and abandon the Green New scam? So the same crowd pushing more controls, now telling people how to cool their own homes. Next, watch Mamdani make it official at the podium. Thermostats set to 78 degrees.
And to every business owner, please set your thermostats to 78 degrees to alleviate the stress on our power grid.
Yeah. From booze in restaurants to thermostat orders from City Hall, this is what government knows best looks like. Meanwhile, Rod Blagojevich is taking aim at J.B. Pritzker for going full-throttle socialist. J.B. Pritzker, the Nepo baby billionaire who used to be a centrist Dem when he worked for me, has gone full-throttle socialist. Why? Is he prostrating himself to the radical socialists and hope they overlook he is the epitome of the white privilege they condemn? So Blagojevich says Pritzker ditched the old centrist act to chase the radical left. Next, the backlash gets visual. A giant banner goes up with a message for the Illinois governor. God, J.B. Pritzker, I love that account. Everybody loves me. J.B. Pritzker is a communist scumbag. So the communist threat, the cancer, is continuing to spread. President Trump is vowing to fight it. We all have to fight it. Sorry, my allergies are just killing me today. So the moral center of this fight is President Donald Trump's warning. Communism is the greatest threat to our country, and like a cancer that spreads, look at the cells. Robert Garcia threatens Trump's children with subpoenas. Pramila Jayapal markets socialism like a product launch. Sheikh Sadiq shelters people whose goal is communism. Darializa Avila praised Stalin, terrorists, and Antifa-style ideology. Zohran Mamdani breaks the grid, then orders families to sweat at 78 degrees and time their appliances around state failure. That's not compassion. That's command and control, power fused with political revenge. Trump named the disease early, and Democrats are proving him right in public, on camera, with their own mouths. So here's the line that every Republican with a microphone, a committee gavel, or a Senate office needs to hammer today. Ask every Democrat one question at a time by name on camera. Does Robert Garcia stand by subpoenaing Trump's children? Does Pramila Jayapal condemn communism? Yes or no? Does every Democrat running in New York reject Darializa Avila's Stalin praise and Zohran Mamdani's rationing politics? No more vacations, no more soft language, no more hiding behind Democrat socialists while the movement cheers state control, anti-police insanity, border erasure, property seizure, and family targeting revenge. President Trump drew the bright red line America needs. He said, "We will never let the United States become a communist country." Good. Then act like it. Share this. Send it to the cowardly Republicans who still whisper around the problem and force every Democrat in sight to answer for the party that they built. Garcia already did. He said, absolutely. And I want to make sure you absolutely get the news that you depend on. I set up this telephone number you see on the screen. I present it at the end of every segment, and there's a reason for that. Because this channel is being actively shadow banned, and the only way around it is you. We're cutting out the middleman. We're going direct to you with notifications to your phone every night, and thousands of patriots are already benefiting from it. Are you? Make sure you text the words raw feed to 844-840-4963. We've got a nation to save. We've also got a nation to celebrate. Our 250th year is upon us, and let's make sure we bring out the red, white, and blue this weekend. Go to the merch shelf below this video or shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
The system controls information. Information control is power. I want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.